Chapter 1. The Hidden Frequency. You gently press your ear against the hush of night, listening for the faintest vibration. In that silence, you perceive subtle oscillations that slip beneath ordinary awareness. These invisible ripples are sound waves, pressure variations traveling through air at roughly 343 meters per second. Each cycle defined by a frequency in hertz. You sense the low tones, cycles per second, that lie below conscious hearing, inviting deep curiosity. A low hum courses through your body, elusive yet undeniable. Your chest vibrates like a resonant chamber responding to sympathetic frequencies, similar to a tuning fork sharing its pitch. In acoustics, resonance arises when an object vibrates at its natural frequency, amplifying energy in gentle waves. You feel this warmth as your tissues begin to resonate, grounding you in the present moment with subtle certainty. Ancient researchers charted these clandestine waves like silent specters. Early scientists explored infrasound below 20 Hz, frequencies too low for everyday ears. They use somatics to translate these invisible vibrations into shapes on sand or water, witnessing nodal patterns that shifted with each tone. This simple experiment revealed how matter and motion intertwine, tracing forms we cannot hear yet that still shape our world. They believed these hidden rhythms could mirror your heartbeat. Your heart beats around 60 to 80 times per minute, a frequency between 1 and 1.3 Hz. When converted into cycles per second, your pulse falls within the infrasound range. By tuning into ambient vibrations and seeking echoes of your own rhythm, you discern a feedback loop linking your inner pace to the world's quiet pulse. You feel drawn to unearth the silent codes concealed between each pulse, as if every interval carries a secret waiting to speak. In signal processing, a Fourier transform separates complex rhythms into pure frequencies, revealing hidden structure in chaos. You imagine applying this approach, slicing the gaps among your heartbeats to uncover spectral lines that map your inner world. The night remains still, and yet this inquiry stirs a promise of deeper resonance ahead. Chapter 2. Reverberations of Control. You lie quietly in a dim room, noticing the faint hum around you. At first it feels like distant thunder or the soft pulse of ocean waves, but it is neither. What you feel are very subtle vibrations in the air, sound waves below hearing threshold called infrasound. Scientists know that these waves travel long distances and effortlessly pass through walls, carrying gentle energy into your mind. Your body responds even when you are unaware. Infrasound can influence brain activity by nudging the balance of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Laboratory studies showed that low frequencies around 19 Hz correlate with feelings of awe or unease. These experiments reveal that waves can steer emotions in ways that feel almost mystical, yet they follow measurable physical laws. Beyond sound, electromagnetic pulses can also shape mood. Governments explore very low frequency fields to discreetly influence large crowds. The brain operates through electrical signals, neurons firing at specific rhythms called brainwaves. Alpha for relaxation, beta for focus, delta for deep sleep. When external fields resonate with these patterns, they can amplify calm or heighten tension. You imagine invisible tides washing over neural landscapes. Nations learn to sculpt that hidden wave into patterns that tug at your mood. Soft pulses slip beyond your vigilant mind, like a secret lullaby woven through the air. Emotions rise and fall at the command of unseen composers, as if you were an instrument in their hands. This orchestration relies on resonance, the tendency of a system to oscillate more strongly at certain frequencies. Science frames these methods with both promise and caution. You feel the shape of influence in every breath, sensing how each inhalation carries a fragment of control you did not invite. Modern neuromodulation explores magnetic coils and ultrasound to target precise brain regions, blending art and technology. In your calm state, curiosity blooms. How much of your inner calm is truly your own? You breathe gently, aware that unseen forces can both soothe and command. Could these orchestrations turn into instruments of force you cannot resist? Chapter 3. Sonic Cannons in the Night. You stand beneath a pale moon, its silver light tracing the curve of distant rooftops. A hush settles around you, broken only by a deep, low hum vibrating through the chill air. This is sound in motion, traveling as waves of alternating pressure that carry energy without moving matter long distances. You breathe in the quiet, curious how invisible oscillations can stir your senses and anchor you in this moment. Farther off, you glimpse the shape of a long-range acoustic device, a sonic cannon aimed toward a silent crowd. These devices can project sound beams hundreds of meters, focusing energy into narrow cones like a flashlight for your ears. At high decibels, near 150 decibels, the waves bruise eardrums and trigger pain receptors. You sense how amplified sound becomes an invisible barrier, pushing against bodies and scattering thoughts like dust in wind. Each pulse rebounds from walls, car doors, and glass, creating patterns of echoes and interference. You recall how resonance makes structures vibrate in sympathy when frequencies match their natural modes. A window shudders at low tones around 100 Hz, while metal barriers hum at higher pitches. These interactions shape the sonic landscape, turning streets into unpredictable concert halls where destructive harmonics can fracture glass or pierce bone. You feel the tremors in your chest, carried not just by air, but also through bone conduction. Low-frequency waves slip into skull bones and stir the fluids of your inner ear, confusing balance and making your organs quiver. Scientists measure these effects with accelerometers, and test subjects report dizziness or nausea after exposure. You realize that sound is not mere entertainment. It can command bodies with subtle primal authority. In the hush that follows each blast, you watch windows trembling in ghostly rhythm. The boundary between safety and siege dissolves, as if you stand within a trembling membrane of sound. You wonder about the unseen toll in hearts and minds when night is woven with pain. This reflection softens your breath and opens a question that lingers in darkness, inviting the next step of your journey. Chapter 4. Hypersonic Hush. You notice a deep vibration, a gentle tremor beneath the rumble of engines and heavy machinery. This is the realm of infrasound, sound waves below 20 cycles per second, too low for your ears to catch. Instead, these waves trace slow arcs through the air, brushing against your body like invisible tides. You sense something stirring in the silence between each pulse. When infrasound travels, it passes effortlessly through walls and forests, slipping into rooms where you sit. These frequencies carry energy directly into your chest cavity, nudging soft tissues and hollow spaces. You can't hear them, but your body registers subtle shifts, a faint flutter in the lungs or a curious tug at the diaphragm. Scientists measure these waves with microbarometers, capturing low-frequency signals that vanish. During tests and conflicts, soldiers in vehicles reported unexpected nausea, disorientation, even a sense of vertigo. Medical teams observed that infrasonic waves can resonate with bones and organs, producing a ghostly echo lodged deep in the skeleton. You imagine these pulses humming against your ribcage, a silent drummer setting a mournful beat. This resonance can shift your equilibrium, reminding you how fragile our internal landscape can be when tuned by unseen forces. In the hush between pulses, you discover that silence itself carries weight. When infrasound dips below certain amplitudes, you enter a threshold where your senses blur. Scientists refer to this boundary in terms of decibels and resonance, marking the point where your inner ear bones become sensitive receptors. Here, even absence of sound becomes a presence, as though the quiet is a gentle press against your chest. You settle into this awareness, feeling your heartbeat echo in time with unseen vibrations. Your body becomes a delicate instrument, sensitive to the lowest notes of an inaudible symphony. In this moment, noise and silence merge into a single continuum, where power is measured not by decibels, but by subtle shifts in pressure and perception. You wonder if there is a boundary where stillness surpasses sound. As you lean into the lingering hum in your bones, you sense another layer waiting to be revealed. Chapter 5. The Mosquito Tone. You press a hand to your ear as a faint whistle drifts through the air, a piercing high pitch dancing just beyond the reach of older ears. This is the mosquito tone, a sine wave hovering around 18,000 cycles per second, audible only to those whose inner ear cells still respond. You feel its raw clarity like a spiderweb tremor. Youthful bodies recoil when that note rings out, as if startled by a small bird taking flight. In the mid-2000s, shopkeepers and city planners embraced this silent alarm to discourage loitering near storefronts and public spaces. Teenagers whose cochlear hair cells still capture frequencies up to 20,000 Hz feel it sharply. Adults past their mid-20s often register only up to 16 kHz. The tone feels playful and strangely cruel. The device you imagine sits hidden above a door or mounted near a fence, emitting around 17 kHz at low decibels to slip under adult ears. This frequency has a wavelength near 2 centimeters, small enough to cast an invisible sonic fence. The sound travels in straight lines, bending only slightly at corners, creating a genuine barrier no one sees. Still, every tone carries weight in the quiet evening gently. You notice how age carves its imprint in the inner ear, a gradual decline called presbycusis. Over decades, those tiny hair bundles in your cochlea lose sensitivity to high frequencies, thinning the landscape of sound. What once shimmered at 18 kHz fades into silence, like distant waves retreating from a shore. You wonder about the lives that slip below this threshold, unheard yet quietly present in the stillness around you. Sound can feel like a line drawn in air, harmless until you cross it. In quiet neighborhoods, the mosquito tone becomes an unwritten boundary, shaping movement more effectively than any fence. You consider how our ears' tuning curve changes with time, losing higher notes before mid-range conversations. This selective hearing reminds you that biology writes its own rules, sometimes separating youth and adults with nothing more than a fading pitch. Next, you will explore how invisible forces shape our sense of deep connection. Chapter 6. Cymatic Shadows. You settle beside a thin metal plate, your fingertips brushing its surface as a soft speaker hums underneath. You watch as minute vibrations travel through the metal, a pulse you can feel in your chest. Grains of sand scattered across the plate start to quiver, lifting and falling like dancers responding to a silent conductor. In this moment, you sense that sound carries a geometry waiting to emerge. Deep in cymatics experiments, scientists learn that specific tones cause distinct modes on vibrating surfaces. Each tone corresponds to a frequency measured in hertz, and at certain resonant frequencies the plate vibrates strongly in nodal patterns. Along those nodal lines, sand gathers into sharp, symmetric designs, while other areas remain still. You imagine a wave curling through matter as if nature writes secret equations in these shapes. Each pattern a clear echo of physical law. Watching these blossoming geometries, you recognize a link to standing waves in a violin string or a whispering gallery. Resonance amplifies motion at precise points while cancelling it elsewhere. That interplay creates calm symmetry and sudden chaos in equal measure. You feel how delicate balance governs both art and structure at microscopic scales. Nature's quiet orchestra conducts patterns that flicker into existence and fade away, reminding you that every form depends on imperceptible vibrations. In a gentle experiment, you sprinkle powder across the plate. Under a speaker's silent song, mandalas emerge on a thin film of liquid. Each ring corresponds to a harmonic overtone, dancing in droplets. You realize cymatic patterns reveal more than beauty. They expose the universal language of frequency and form. Science becomes a quiet companion, narrating how unseen forces shape reality as you rest in this attentive moment of wonder. You marvel at designs that blossom and vanish with each pitch change. Behind every fractal lies an interplay of mass, tension, and wave velocity. Sand grains become recorders, mapping the invisible landscape of pressure and displacement, forming a living diagram. This dance between energy and matter shows how inputs sculpt results. You feel a gentle pulse of curiosity, as if the membrane whispers secrets in frequencies beyond hearing, inviting you into resonant shadows. Chapter 7. Ultrasonic medicine turned weapon. You press your palm against the gentle swell of your throat, aware of the silent symphony of mechanical waves passing through tissue. Sound is a traveling vibration, moving around 340 meters per second in air and about 1540 meters per second in human flesh. When frequencies exceed 20 kilohertz, the hum becomes ultrasound, entering realms too high for ears but not for instruments. You imagine these pulses slipping beneath skin like liquid light, carrying messages of hidden structures. In diagnostic imaging, technicians guide a transducer across your skin, sending bursts at 2 to 18 megahertz. Reflected echoes return as patterns of dark and light, forming an image of your beating heart or growing embryo. Doppler ultrasound even measures flow rate of blood, painting sound into motion. You feel the hush of intention as each wave unveils a quiet truth within. At higher intensities, focused ultrasound becomes a tool for healing. Known as high-intensity focused ultrasound or HIFU, it concentrates energy into a pinpoint spot, raising temperature and promoting tissue regeneration. Tiny thermal lesions spark new collagen growth, knitting unseen tears with careful heat. Scientists calibrate the beam as though tuning a violin, each adjustment inviting cells to repair and realign. Yet the same precision that mends can also destroy. Lithotripsy sends shockwaves through water baths and into body, shattering kidney stones into fragments that pass easily. HIFU beams, driven to a fierce crescendo, ablate tumors by boiling intracellular fluid, collapsing cells with acoustic cavitation. Mercy and menace share a slender thread in these sonic frequencies. One wave a cradle, the next a hammer. Rest brings a moment of reflection as you consider the dual nature of gentleness and force. You drift between gratitude for healing pulses and awe at their power to unmake. In the space where medicine and weapons overlap, you linger on a question that hums beneath the surface, guiding you toward the next revelation. You sense the tremor of possibility, as if each beam holds both promise and peril, waiting for your attentive mind to discern where compassion yields to caution. In that liminal space, the boundary between care and destruction feels as thin as the interface of two converging waves. Chapter 8. The Harp of Harm. You stand under a pale polar twilight, where the horizon shivers with auroral glow. In this hush, rows of gleaming antennas stretch behind you, aiming invisible beams at the high sky. You feel the gentle pulse of transmitted radio waves, each oscillation a soft whisper in the silent night. Officially known as the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HAARP uses shortwave transmitters to heat electrons in the ionosphere, creating subtle ripples in Earth's plasma. In this moment, you sense the air as a living instrument, waiting for its notes to sound. Beneath the dancing lights, you imagine the ionosphere as a vast, charged ocean. Solar radiation splits atoms into ions and electrons, forming a tenuous sea of plasma that encircles the globe. When HAARP directs powerful radio waves upward, it nudges that sea, raising electron temperature by only a few degrees. Those tiny changes can alter how radio signals bounce around the planet. In this delicate experiment, science listens to the sky's response, mapping hidden currents that thread through layers of charged gas. Rumors drift through the cold air like stray snowflakes. Some say those pulses can summon storms or twist winds, or even tune human thoughts like radio receivers. You let the thought pass gently. In truth, HAARP's power is concentrated in a narrow beam and designed to explore auroral physics. The facility can inject about 3 megawatts into the ionosphere, enough to study plasma waves, not to shift weather fronts or hijack minds. Yet the mystery persists in whispered conversations and online shadows. You breathe in the crisp air, carrying the scent of spruce and steel. You sense how technology and nature entwine into a single quiet tapestry. The antennas stand like bridges between earth and sky, reminding you of human curiosity's reach. This is a place where fact and fiction meet on the frigid edge of science. You feel the hush deepen as currents of charged particles drift overhead, each electron carrying a sliver of unknown possibility. Tonight, you softly listen to the hum of antennas that tune a living sky. You carry quietly the question forward, letting it hover gently as you turn to meet the next discovery, tempted by the charged secrets waiting to unfold. Chapter 9. The Silence That Screams. You sit in a quiet room and notice the hush around you like a skin stretched over a drum. A single breath stirs the still air, and you become aware of sound as vibrations moving at roughly 343 meters per second. Each inhale and exhale generates microwaves that ripple invisibly, reminding you that every silence holds latent movement. Declassified memos speak of subliminal tones embedded in broadcasts, hidden beneath ambient noise. Real audio frequencies between 20 and 20,000 hertz carry not only music, but also coded signals. These low-level pulses can slip under the radar of conscious hearing, yet they resonate with alpha brainwaves in the 8 to 13 hertz range, gently nudging mood and focus. You wonder how many of your deepest thoughts align with signals you never knowingly received. Imagine the air as a vast canvas for electromagnetic waves as well. Radio transmissions, microwaves, infrared warmth, visible light, and more. The electromagnetic spectrum spans frequencies from about 3 kilohertz up to exahertz in gamma rays. Each band carries energy and information, traveling at the speed of light. Though your senses register only a thin slice of this spectrum, technology enables reception across its entire breadth, weaving hidden communications through space. Neurons in your brain communicate via electrical pulses called action potentials, firing at up to 200 times per second. These pulses traverse synapses, each a gap of about 20 nanometers, using chemical messengers. This precise choreography allows thought, memory, and perception to emerge. If external signals modulate these pulses, even subtly, they can influence circuits tied to emotion and intent without overt awareness. You feel the subtle hum in the spaces between your thoughts. Your mind becomes both observer and instrument, receptive to vibrations that might never reach the spotlight of consciousness. Science shows that sensory perception involves both bottom-up data from the environment and top-down expectations shaped by memory. In this silent dialogue, you sense the push and pull of unseen forces seeking to rewrite your internal rhythm. When silence screams louder than sound, you find yourself leaning into the question of what truly belongs to your own mind. You sense a threshold where perception and influence blur, and you wonder what hidden currents you will meet beyond the boundary of conscious awareness. Chapter 10. Echoes in the Dark. You settle into a quiet space, noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest. With each breath, you draw air through your nose into your lungs, where tiny alveoli exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. You imagine those microscopic air sacs like softly flickering lanterns in a silent hall. This natural gas exchange nourishes every cell, reminding you of the ancient, unspoken technology that gently breathes life into your being. You feel your heartbeat like a distant drum echoing in the dark, each pulse sending about 5 liters of blood through your body every minute, Your heart's chambers contract and relax in a synchronized dance, guided by electrical signals. This precise rhythm maintains pressure and steady flow, supplying oxygen and nutrients to muscles and organs. You become aware of this hidden current, a quietly pulsing river of life within you. As you settle deeper, you sense resonance within your cells. Each cell membrane holds electrical potentials in millivolts, shifting like tiny radio receivers picking up signals. Neurons transmit action potentials along their axons at nearly 100 meters per second, and muscle fibers respond with vibrations. You imagine these oscillations as a hidden melody, where electrical charges guide communication and repair. This biophysical rhythm weaves a soothing harmony through your being. With each exhale, you release carbon dioxide in a soft, rhythmic whisper. Inside your cells, mitochondria convert nutrients into ATP, the molecular currency of energy, fueling repair and growth. You imagine tiny powerhouses glowing like lanterns, their chemical cycles softly humming at steady frequencies measured in hertz. This bioenergetic symphony links every breath to cellular vitality, letting you feel the warmth of metabolic currents flowing gently, deeply through your tissues. You rest in this chamber of living echoes, feeling each vibration reverberate through bones and sinew. These hidden frequencies resonate like distant waves in an ocean, carrying the promise of healing rhythms. As you drift towards sleep, you sense an echo lingering at the edge of awareness, inviting you onward.